If you want to arrest me, I will come down and you can arrest me. I will be there. I can see your car. I will come down.
Okay, come on down then.
You're not trying to... Well, you're trying to arrest me.
Will you come down, please?
No, only if you tell me that you want to arrest me, then
I am not arresting you. No, I'm not. No. I am not. You just come down.
If you're not trying to arrest me, then I don't want to talk to you.
On the morning of June 17th, 2019, a 23-year-old nursing student named Mackenzie Lueck returned to Utah after a brief trip to California. She had flown to Los Angeles to attend her grandmother's funeral and was expected to resume her normal routine immediately after landing. Instead, within hours of stepping off the plane, Mackenzie Lueck disappeared. This case did not begin with confusion or mystery. It began with a sequence of ordinary, documented events that would later reveal something far more disturbing, a calculated crime carried out by a man who had already decided to kill. Mackenzie's flight landed at Salt Lake City International Airport at approximately 1:35 a.m. Airport surveillance cameras captured her walking through the terminal, pulling her suitcase behind her. She appeared tired but calm, showing no visible signs of distress. Shortly after 2 a.m., cameras recorded her entering a Lyft vehicle. According to ride records and the driver's later testimony, Mackenzie requested to be dropped off near Hatch Park in North Salt Lake, a quiet public recreation area. The destination was unusual. It was not close to her apartment, and there was no obvious reason for her to be at a park in the early morning hours. During the ride, Mackenzie made casual conversation. At one point, she acknowledged the oddness of the location, joking that being dropped off at a park so late at night was strange. The driver did not observe any fear or hesitation. When they arrived shortly before 3 a.m., another vehicle was already waiting. Mackenzie exited the Lyft, approached the other car, and exchanged friendly words with the person inside. She appeared to know them. That moment, Mackenzie walking away from the Lyft was the last time she was seen alive. Mackenzie Lueck was born on March 8, 1996, in El Segundo, California, and raised in a close-knit family. She was the second of 4 children and the only daughter. From an early age, she demonstrated discipline and commitment, excelling academically and athletically. In high school, she competed in swimming and water polo and helped establish a breast cancer awareness club. At the University of Utah, Mackenzie pursued a nursing degree and was just 2 semesters away from graduation. She hoped to attend medical school and dedicate her life to helping others. She was known for being responsible and dependable. She regularly checked in with her parents, answered calls and messages, and took her academic obligations seriously. Mackenzie was also active in her sorority, Alpha Chi Omega, which focused on domestic violence awareness and prevention. Friends described her as intelligent and kind, but naturally shy. In recent years, she had been working to build confidence and step outside her comfort zone. Behind that effort, however, Mackenzie had been struggling. In 2018, she was the victim of an assault. She sought therapy and took medication for depression while continuing to attend school and maintain her responsibilities. Despite these challenges, she remained focused on her future. Nothing in her behavior suggested she would voluntarily disappear. When Mackenzie's parents last heard from her, she had texted to say she landed safely. The following morning, her mother noticed something unusual. When she replied, the message sent as a standard SMS instead of an iMessage, an indication that Mackenzie's phone was powered off. At first, the family tried not to panic. Mackenzie had just attended a funeral. Perhaps she needed time alone. But as hours turned into days, concern grew. By June 20th, nearly a full week had passed with no contact. None of Mackenzie's friends had seen her. Her roommates could not confirm she had returned home. Her car remained parked at her apartment, exactly where she had left it before traveling. Her suitcase was missing. The most alarming detail came from the university. Mackenzie had an online midterm exam due that night. She never logged in. For a student as dedicated as Mackenzie, this was unthinkable. Her father, Greg Lueck, contacted the Salt Lake City Police Department to report her missing.
Last time we heard from her, she got off the plane coming back from LA. It was 1 a.m. She was going to grab an Uber and go home, but that's the last I've heard from her.
Police searched Mackenzie's apartment and found no signs of forced entry or struggle. Everything appeared normal, except Mackenzie herself was gone. Investigators reviewed airport surveillance footage and confirmed her arrival and Lyft ride. The drop-off location at Hatch Park immediately raised red flags. When officers attempted to obtain security footage from the park, they discovered a devastating problem. The cameras installed there were non-functional dummy cameras. No video existed to show who met Mackenzie that night. Investigators then turned to digital evidence. They established a geo-fence around Hatch Park during the relevant time window. Several devices appeared in the area, but one stood out. A phone belonging to Ala Ayayi had pinged at the same location, at the same time, as Mackenzie's phone. Phone records revealed that Mackenzie and Ajayi had been communicating through a messaging application in the hours before she disappeared. Shortly after 3 a.m., Mackenzie's phone went offline permanently. As police dug deeper, another detail emerged. On June 10th, $300 had been deposited into Mackenzie's bank account. Her parents confirmed they had not sent the money. Friends later explained that Mackenzie had been using dating websites that involved financial arrangements, sometimes referred to as transactional dating. She had logged into one such site on June 16th, only hours before she vanished. This information helped explain the deposit, but it did not change the central truth. Mackenzie had every right to live her life as she chose. Responsibility for what happened rested entirely with the person who harmed her. On June 25, 2019, police contacted Ala Ajayi. Despite legal advice to remain silent, he agreed to an interview. Ajayi presented himself as cooperative and confused. He worked in information technology and claimed to understand how location data functioned. He insisted he had never met Mackenzie in person. Ajayi stated that he used dating apps only to talk when he felt lonely due to anxiety and PTSD. He suggested that the phone data placing him at Hatch Park might be the result of someone else using his Wi-Fi network, which he claimed to keep unsecured for Airbnb guests. His explanations failed to account for the mounting digital evidence. Investigators obtained search warrants for Ajayi's phone, electronic devices, and residence. What they would soon uncover would confirm that Mackenzie Lueck had not vanished by chance. She had been deliberately targeted. When investigators executed a search warrant at Ala Ajayi's residence in the Fair Park neighborhood of Salt Lake City on June 26, 2019, the case shifted irreversibly. What had begun as a missing person investigation was rapidly becoming something far darker. Ajayi appeared cooperative as officers searched the home. An Airbnb guest was present in a spare bedroom, having arrived earlier that day, seemingly unaware that police were investigating the property. There was no immediate sign of Mackenzie Lueck inside the house. However, investigators quickly noticed troubling details. Multiple weapons were recovered, including knives, a hammer, and a firearm. Dirt and debris were collected from Ajayi's vehicle. Numerous electronic devices were seized for forensic analysis. Most disturbing was the backyard. Officers observed freshly disturbed soil. Neighbors later reported that on June 17th, Ajayi had been burning something in that same area. One neighbor described the smell as overpowering and foul.
The smell of gas was outrageous. And I thought maybe I was in my bedroom and I smelled it through my window and I thought maybe it was my motorhome. And so I came outside to make sure, and there's this smell in the air that was just almost rancid. It was just really disgusting smelling.
So intense that she considered calling the fire department. A trained canine unit alerted to the presence of human remains in the yard. Ajayi was brought in for a second interview. This time, investigators abandoned a conciliatory tone and confronted him directly with the evidence. Ajayi continued to deny any involvement, insisting he had been home all night with the mother of his child, who he claimed was 8 months pregnant. He provided inconsistent details and could not explain why his phone had been in the same location as Mackenzie's phone when hers went offline permanently. When confronted with the disturbed earth and burned materials, Ajayi offered explanations that failed under scrutiny. He claimed he had been burning trash. He suggested dirt in his car came from planting flowers. He even attempted to explain away biological traces as remnants from processing livestock. None of it aligned with the evidence. On June 28th, DNA testing confirmed what investigators already suspected. Human remains recovered from Ajayi's backyard were identified as belonging to Mackenzie Lueck. As the investigation expanded, additional evidence revealed the extent of the planning involved. Records showed Ajayi had purchased a red gasoline can on the morning of June 17th, just hours after Mackenzie disappeared. His vehicle smelled strongly of gasoline. Clothing stained with bleach and a soiled shower curtain were recovered. A burned cell phone was found in the fire pit. Surveillance footage placed Ajayi's Kia Optima traveling toward Hatch Park at 2:43 a.m. on June 17th. At 3:21 a.m., the Lyft vehicle that had dropped Mackenzie off was seen leaving the park. 10 seconds later, Ajayi's car departed. Mackenzie was no longer visible, but the timeline left little doubt about where she had gone. Phone records also placed Ajayi in Logan Canyon, a remote area approximately 80 minutes from Salt Lake City, on June 25th. Investigators suspected this location had been used to dispose of evidence. On June 28th, a SWAT team was deployed to arrest Ajayi at a friend's apartment. Before the arrest, an officer called Ajayi and attempted to convince him to surrender peacefully. Ajayi repeatedly asked whether he was being arrested, refusing to come down unless officers explicitly confirmed it. When police finally stated they were executing an arrest warrant, Ajayi surrendered without resistance. He was charged with aggravated murder, aggravated kidnapping, and desecration of a human body in connection with Mackenzie Lueck's death. Further investigation into Ajayi's past revealed a disturbing pattern. Born in 1988 and raised in Nigeria, Ajayi had lived in Utah since at least 2009. He attended Utah State University on a student visa multiple times, but never earned a degree. He briefly joined the Utah National Guard, but was discharged before completing basic training. Despite limited verified credentials, Ajayi's online profiles claimed extensive experience in information technology, including work with major corporations. Those claims could not be substantiated. Ajayi had a history of violence toward women. His estranged wife, who lived in Texas, later reported multiple incidents of abuse, including being threatened with a knife and attempting to escape through a window. He refused to finalize divorce proceedings, leaving them legally married for years despite separation. In 2018, Ajayi had been investigated after a woman accused him of assault following a meeting arranged through a dating app. He was never convicted. Several individuals who encountered Ajayi professionally described immediate discomfort. A modeling agent declined to work with him, stating she did not feel safe having him around young women. A house cleaner quit after one day, alarmed by the number of cameras inside the home, including cameras positioned in the master bedroom. Ajayi had asked her to bring her 12-year-old daughter with her while cleaning, a request that deeply unsettled her. Perhaps most chilling was testimony from a contractor who revealed that Ajayi had once asked him to build a soundproof room in the basement, complete with hooks on the walls and a fingerprint-locked door. The contractor refused the job, later stating his instincts told him something was profoundly wrong. On July 2, 2019, investigators began searching Logan Canyon based on Ajayi's phone records. The following afternoon, they made the discovery Mackenzie's family had feared. Her body was found in a shallow grave, partially concealed by brush. Her hands were zip-tied behind her back. She had suffered blunt force trauma to the head, determined to be the cause of death. The full timeline of Mackenzie's final hours emerged. Ajayi had connected with her through a dating website months earlier. They arranged to meet after her return from California. Mackenzie directed her Lyft driver to Hatch Park, where Ajayi was waiting. He drove her to his home. There, a violent struggle occurred. Ajayi restrained Mackenzie with zip ties and struck her with sufficient force to cause a fatal head injury. The evidence showed that Ajayi had turned off his home security cameras before leaving to meet her, a critical detail demonstrating premeditation. Ajayi attempted to destroy evidence in his backyard later that morning, but was interrupted by neighbors. He buried Mackenzie's body temporarily, then returned days later to move her remains to Logan Canyon. Her personal belongings were discarded. Some later recovered from the Jordan River, including her student identification. In October 2020, Ajayi entered a guilty plea to first-degree aggravated murder and desecration of a human body. In exchange, prosecutors removed the death penalty from consideration. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Ajayi also pleaded guilty to kidnapping and assault related to the 2018 incident involving another woman. He received an additional sentence of 1 to 15 years to be served consecutively. 19 charges involving illegal material related to minors were dismissed as part of the plea agreement, a decision that remains deeply controversial and painful for those who followed the case. At sentencing, Mackenzie's father delivered a victim impact statement that captured the magnitude of the loss. Instead of planning his daughter's graduation, he said, he planned her memorial. Mackenzie had been kind, driven, and full of potential. She dreamed of becoming a nurse and helping others heal. She was just 2 semesters away from achieving that goal. The prosecutor described the crime as murder for murder's sake. Ajayi did not kill in self-defense or panic. He killed because he wanted to know what it felt like to take a life. Today, Ala Ajayi remains incarcerated. Mackenzie Lueck's family continues to grieve a future that was stolen from them, a future that included a career in medicine, a life of service, and decades that will never come. Her case stands as a stark reminder that violence often leaves warnings behind warnings that, when ignored, can have irreversible consequences. Mackenzie Lueck was not reckless, naive, or deserving of harm. She was a young woman living her life. The responsibility for her death rests entirely with the man who planned it, and the cost of that failure will never be undone.